Welcome to the International Nanny Association Library of Resources. The INA Library is an example of our efforts to leverage the expertise of industry professionals from around the globe to help increase awareness about the industry, to develop the professional skills of nannies, and to educate parents about the benefits of hiring a qualified nanny to care for their children. Hello, I'm Angela Riggs. For the past 25 years, I've dedicated my career to creating positive learning environments for diverse learners, from preschoolers to the adult learner in the workplace. Embracing a variety of curriculum philosophies coupled with research on how children and adults learn has been my focus. Curriculum and instructional development, along with the facilitation of program assessment opportunities at Sullivan University for the past 16 years, has led me to expand in other training and developmental areas. Well, that's enough about me. Let's get on with the Guidance Toolbox, where I can hopefully share a few key nuggets that might help you in your day-to-day interactions with children and families. Why do children misbehave, act out, or make bad choices? There can be several different reasons. One might be their basic needs are not met. Not getting enough attention at home from a parent, nanny, sibling. Maybe they're bored. Activity or environments that are not age appropriate can also lead to children making poor choices. Maybe they're just modeling what they see from adults, siblings, children, possibly television. They could be testing their limits, trying to see where the boundaries are. Repeating behaviors they have had success with in the past and they got away with it, that could be yet another reason why children choose to make poor choices. What can a nanny or parent do to help guide behavior? Here are a few strategies that we will go into more detail on the following slides. Active listening. Prevent. By creating a safe and child-friendly environment, you might be able to prevent any outbursts or behavior issues in the first place. Set clear expectations and boundaries. Establish routines and assist young children with transitions. Give age-appropriate choices. Offer positive reinforcement. Redirect. Model the appropriate behavior you want to see. Let's go into more detail. First, let's start with redirection. This works well for toddlers and very young preschoolers. Reinforcement. Catch them being good. You have painted a beautiful picture. You've worked very hard on that picture. Can you tell me about it? Value their time and their efforts. Cueing. You can use visual cues with pictures. You could give body signs as cues. Ignore the behavior. Possibly discuss the behavior and a possible problem-solving strategy. Consistency is key. Problem solving. Long-range goal of all guidance techniques is that children learn constructive ways to solve problems. Using a problem-solving technique with an individual child, a small group, this helps create a no-lose situation. It's based on mutual respect between the parent or the nanny and the child. Provide unconditional attention. Convey to them that you value them, you enjoy spending time with them. Prevention. As we mentioned, prevention. Clearly define the rules and expectations that you want the children to meet so that they can be successful. Modeling. This can be done by siblings, other children in a play group. You modeling what you want to see them do. Be consistent. More options include active listening. Let's look at that a little bit closer. This is a technique to help clarify communication between the nanny and the child, or the parent and the child. Active listening involves reflecting back to the children what they have said in a way that helps them find their own solutions to problems. Logical consequences might be another option. You've heard of removing a child from a certain situation, maybe taking away a privilege. Other possible consequences can be natural consequences. They're late for a party, therefore maybe they don't get to participate in the beginning craft. Behavior management, positive reinforcement. This is based on a principle that will continue to display behaviors for which they get acknowledgement or attention, catching them being good. Reward them for their on-task behavior, for the child who waits patiently for their turn or displays good manners. Counting is yet another option, and this option comes from Thomas Phelan. He gives you tips about how to count poor choices and then having consequences. You can check out a video or his book 123 Magic and more 123 Magic. With all of these options, consistency is key. Let's take a look at what age-appropriate timeouts look like, because this might be another option your family or you choose. Timeouts are intended to give a child a calm place away from distractions and the environment where the inappropriate behavior was taking place. It is least effective when used as a punishment, though. You could choose a quiet chair, a bedroom free from toys, media, distractions, a comfortable little nook with a comfy pillow, or possibly a neutral or boring area. Remember, timeout should not be used with children under the age of 18 months. Even children under the age of 3, timeout may not be appropriate. Every child is different. Children don't begin to develop the ability to reason until about age 3. However, timeout might be an effective way for a parent to sit with a child, just to take a quiet moment, to relax, to calm down. Remember, the rule is 1 minute for every year the child is old. For example, a 4-year-old could be placed in a quiet space for 4 minutes. With all of these options, being consistent, being clear with what your expectations are all very important to guide behavior. With all of these options, why do parents, nannies, and teachers still have difficulty guiding behavior? One of the options we mentioned were cues. Young children need help transitioning between activities. Because young children, their cognitive intellectual needs are different than an adult, many times seeing is believing for them. So nannies can provide cues, give warnings about changes, set timers, support on-task behavior and practice routines, all to help a young child transition smoothly with fewer outbursts and disruptive behaviors. To add more tools to your guidance toolbox, in addition to the options mentioned and the strategies, the remaining slides are hopefully here to help you make visuals to guide behavior and assist with these transitions for young children when seeing is believing. Working with parents closely and having consistency will help all of these different tools come together for effective guidance. Here is the first visual that you can make to help children identify their feelings. One of the options that we have is through active listening. However, young children may have difficulty expressing themselves with words. Children can express themselves using pictures instead of words, and this helps them to name their feelings, to express themselves, and helps to improve that active listening between the nanny, parent, and child. Sometimes acknowledging and respecting their feelings is all that they need. When the child feels understood or valued, they can feel relieved. Another option that we talked about was creating age-appropriate choices. Sometimes verbally telling a child what their choices are can be overwhelming. So you can create what's called a choice board. You can have a first, second, third, fourth, fifth choice depending on the age of the child. However, I would caution, the younger the child, the fewer the choices. When you give them too many choices, they become overwhelmed, and that can lead to a meltdown or an outburst. For example, a 3-year-old, you may provide only 2 choices. And of course, the choices you provide need to be something that you're willing to live with. So for instance, if you're doing an art project and you give them the choices of glue or paste and puzzles, which do they want to do? Glue, paste, or puzzles. This would be an age-appropriate choice for a 3-year-old. Choice boards give children opportunities to make decisions and to have some control over their actions and activities. However, it is the nanny or the parent that sets these boundaries by choosing the choices. This is the third visual that we're going to talk about, and you've seen pictured visuals that have already been made. At the end of this video, there are some links to some great resources where you can print off those picture cues, so you don't have to get all of these from clipart or Google Images. They're already created on typical choices that you would give children to guide their behavior. So those resources are there for you. So let's take a look at this third visual. It's called First and Then. To encourage children to complete chores or homework before doing a more desirable activity, you could use first and then charts for redirection. Preschoolers may get frustrated if you physically redirect them. However, if you give them the sense of power where they get to choose first and then, and they see this picture cue of what they're going to do, it helps them to visually see it, and they don't feel the redirection the same way maybe a toddler would. First and then charts to help redirect behaviors give the child more autonomy and opportunities to have control and regulate their own behaviors. So the first and then charts can be quite effective for preschool age, even a little younger than preschoolers, that can see the picture and they understand they have to first complete this task and then they might get the more desirable activity. Another visual could be used when establishing routines. Rather than just verbally telling a child what you're going to do for the day, if you have pictures, it helps them to gauge their behaviors along the way. It helps them during transitions. It helps to limit negative nagging or excessive talk. So when you're transitioning from one activity to the next, they know what comes next. They don't have to remember it, they can see it. And remember, seeing is believing. A chore chart can be used to modify daily self-help tasks and grooming, homework, other age-appropriate tasks, or chores around the house. The goal of the chart is to encourage children to complete those tasks without the nagging and constant reminders. That picture communication system helps them to get immediate feedback, and it helps them to be successful without a lot of negative feedback from a parent or nanny. Parents and nannies, remember, should develop the jobs and tasks that are age appropriate and not overwhelming. These tasks are best when they can be chunked into smaller parts. Let me give you an example. The end goal is to have the room clean. You want the child to clean their room. However, just telling them to clean their room will be overwhelming, especially to a small child. A 3-year-old that sees a complete disaster cannot break that task down into smaller tasks. They need help doing that. So rather than saying clean your room, you might have picture cues. If you have a picture of a child picking up all the blocks and putting them away, then that child can do that specific task, get success, get immediate feedback, and you can reinforce that behavior, and that will be a success. Then you move on to the next part, maybe picking up all of the dolls or picking up all of the cars and trucks. Breaking a big task into smaller parts helps them to be successful. Here are some visuals of a chore chart. As I said, the chart can also include daily help or grooming activities to help maybe with morning or evening bedtime rituals, taking a bath, getting dressed, brushing their teeth. Those are all things that maybe the child may not be interested in doing. However, as they do each task, they can get immediate feedback and show that they have completed it, feel successful, and move on to the next. It also gives them some control over their day. When all of the chores are completed, you can put all of the tasks on the back of the folder to use for the next day. You can add new tasks to it, switch some out, maybe change them. Maybe you have a different routine in the summer than you do during the school year. Maybe weekends have a different chart, but all of those pictures can be found on that website that I shared at the end of the video. So you can print those off and get those chore charts and those visuals going. So the child can, in the end, you can have the goal of completing the tasks that you want. The child gets some autonomy and some choice, and they can help self-regulate themselves along the way. It eliminates some negative talk and makes more for a positive outcome. Here are those resources that I referred to. The Technical Assistance Center on Social Emotional Intervention for Young Children, www.challengingbehavior.org. This is a great site. You can download whole folders of picture cues for various behaviors, everything from daily grooming to types of play that you may give them choices. You can also check out Children with Special Needs and get a number of downloads from there. If you have a specific image that you want, try Google Images. Put that image into a Word document, create a whole bunch of images that are specific for your charges, print those off, cut them into squares, and then use them on your chore charts, your first and then charts, and help guide those behaviors in positive ways. Other resources on this PowerPoint have been from the Sullivan University's curriculum from the Early Childhood Education Department. I hope you have found these resources to be very useful and can go a long way in helping your daily communications with children and families be positive to guide behavior and transitions. This concludes the Guidance Toolbox video. Feel free to drop me a line, AngelaWilsonRiggs@gmail.com, or call 502-445-3134 for questions. Thank you for visiting the INA Library. Should you seek additional training or information about this topic, please send your questions to the Education Committee Chair at memberservices@nanny.org with the attention line Education Committee on the subject, or use the content information provided by the presenter found in this video.